Okay, when you get to Venus, we're doing for time. Yeah, okay, good. Again, you're only going to get 1 or 2 times it hits. For me, I get 2 hits of Venus. I have a square at the beginning. Again, that was my brother born. My 3rd brother was born, and he was born sick, and we had to move away from the riverfront, which was my paradise, to an apartment. That was like the end of the innocence and childhood of playing out in the river and everything. So that was a big change. But that was, and we had to give up what we wanted to be able to make sure my brother could live. So it was, and my dad was sick a lot during the time my brother was sick. It was a really difficult time. We were very poor. But in terms of getting what you want, we weren't getting what we want. My freedom was just I would go out and play on the river, or go climb trees in the field next door, or whatever, and that was it. But in terms of socially, there were very harsh things going on, and fearful things going on. So when it hit the conjunction in '95, the conjunction Pluto to my Venus is 0 degrees 19 in Scorpio, or 0 19, it's 0 20, but it's just in there. It's going to conjunct your values and what you want. Well, if it's in my IC, it's conjunct my IC in my 4th house. So things hit the Scorpio IC, then it moves on, hits the ascendant, it hits the Venus. So when it hit the Venus, I had the library. I had taken the library back, but I had to move it 4 times in 2 years across this period as Pluto was hitting the Venus. Find a place that didn't work. I had to move again, and it was challenging the money. It wasn't in relationships. It was at the end of it, there was a very bad relationship that I fell in love with a woman and her couple of kids, and really it was because she had the kids and I didn't bring up mine that I pulled in, and then she wasn't really there. It fell apart, and it was just awful. But I was moving the library. It was really disoriented, affected my Venus as a strong for Libra. So really, it just says bad relationship, but it really was a heart-rending thing of changing my values of what I want, where I was. I only had 1 little relationship after that, and I've pretty well been celibate since then. You know, it just was a deep hurt. So at the same time, when I moved the library at the end, I moved it to a big place. I had to move from one big place. I had to decide, do I try and find a simple place or a cheap place? I should have, but I rented a bigger place and met it up, and I had to work a lot more to maintain this bigger place. So I had to be teaching 5 nights a week, doing 4 or 5 readings a day, just to pay the rent and keep it going without even taking a salary. So it was harsh in that way, as Pluto was on the Venus. But it certainly was until then, I had really idealized women all my life. Someone cares for me, oh, well, this is everything, I give everything, I throw everything in. And this was my wake-up call. I lost the enchantment. I still like people, but I'm not, just because someone's beautiful, I'm not goo-goo gaga giving everything, trying to be like it's changed. You know, now I see a beautiful woman, I see the skyhooks, I see the conditions and the things you have to put up and what you're going to have to take care of. And I look a little more realistically as to what would be give and take. So I still love people, I still like individuals. I'm more an individualist, but I no longer, that was the end of me looking for relationships. It really moved up to philosophy, religion, principles, beliefs that I started living for. Okay. But that was Pluto to my Venus. But if someone's in a difficult relationship, you're not going to get satisfied with Pluto on your Venus. There's going to be some confrontation of what you want, and what you can't always get what you want. You know, that's Pluto on your Venus. Can I let go of what I want? Do I have to deal with this one? It's going to confront however Venus is, which can be 1,000 different things. But for that year, it's going to hit this nerve, and it's going to touch 2 or 3 specific things that your emotions affect your thinking, and affect your purpose, affect your goals, affect your confidence. And when they're being challenged and you're fighting for them, you can't think straight, you can't live straight. It's confronting. But it passes, you get through it. You have to face it till you get through it. I had to face up and find, see, I'm not dealing with this relationship. But it was difficult because it was with someone who was studying and half working with me. So she still wanted to work with me, and I had to try for a few months to try and do it. And I couldn't, and then I couldn't even work with her. I had to end everything. I don't know, cut everything to not be anything together because it bothered me too much. That was a horrible relationship, difficult. Like even my ex-wives, we still talk. We're still in relationships that we can talk or communicate, not this. This is done. So that was the Pluto to Venus to me. It's 2 hits, 2 pivotal points of challenging, losing some emotional innocence, challenging my emotional reality, and having to come to terms with a new truth. I'm not as great a person or as beautiful a person as I thought I was. You know, like, so certainly any type of charm or flirting wouldn't have gone very far. It would have gone out like a lead balloon at that time. It took me a bit longer to realize it. So it's just an example. You're going to run across these, and when someone's going into it, they know it, they have a fear it's coming, and they don't know if it's really coming. And you're seeing it beforehand, and you say, yeah, it's probably going to get worse, and you're going to have to deal with this. And you might have to be in the confronting role to them to let them, yeah, no, be prepared. This is coming. You're going to have to deal with it. If it's happening, they know it's happening. They want to think, is this going to go on forever? I can't live with this forever. Say, no, it's not forever. It's going to lift in. It'll lift in a year. You know, I have it for a year. Yeah, but it's only a year. Then it changes. But if it's over, you've been hurt and you think, I don't know if it's over. I don't know if it's really over. So you have to tell the person, yes, it's really over. It's not coming back. You can start building up. You can't hold on to the past. So you're working psychologically or profoundly to deep this stuff. All of my big heartbreaks or dramatic big failures or losses in my life, in one way, they really built up my spirituality more in spite of myself. Sorry, I'm just gonna turn this off. My cell. Okay. So that's Venus, what you want, what you like. You're not getting what you like. I mean, you look in the mirror when Pluto's on your Venus, you may think you look smart. You're going to see a skeleton. You're going to see the harshness. You know, like it's confident. There's no room for vanity. It's what's really true. It's harsh truth. It's power and desires. So it can come out confrontational, it can come out abusive. There's many ways this could play it. That's how it played out for me. And I think I got off, even though that wasn't easy. I've done a lot of people's clients where it ended up being much worse things. And when your emotions get it like that, there are edges where you could get suicidal or say, I can't live like this. It's not true, but you think that, or you feel that. So then you have to work with the time, with the 3 hits that comes in, it's not finished, it comes back. Then it says you have to get them aware of how the process works, how long it's going to take, and then when it lifts, and you have to work with them to get through it and find other things that can work positively. Well, you're not going to remove this, so you say this is where this is going, but you might make some benefits in other places while you're dealing with this. So that's the challenge. Whenever it's Pluto, you're going to have to walk in and you're going to have a confrontational session. You're going to have to be the Pluto for that person. And you're going to be talking about things they're afraid of talking about. And often, you can have the strongest person in the world. I've had really strong, powerful women, big politicians, cabinet ministers, people come in and talk. And when it's Pluto's there, you see you talk about it, they burst into tears because what they're afraid of happening is actually happening and they have to face it. So sorry, I thought I had this turned off. Yes, I did. Okay. So that's with Venus. So Venus is how you're receiving love, how you're being loved. You're being hit on your vulnerable side and what you want, or your vanity and how beautifully you think, on how you're taking things in, how you're enjoying your content. Let's just say if Venus is contentment at its best, when Pluto's there, you are not content. And if you're not content, what will you judge? What will you want? How will you assess it? How bitter, how harsh, how cold will you get? You can be that coldness, or you can attract that coldness from someone. It's still happening to you. It's still challenging what you really value. I'm a stupid Libran, and I valued sharing, even when the person with me wasn't trying to share. It took me a little bit to clue in. Okay, it passed. Thank goodness. But when Pluto hits your Mars, over here, here's the Mars. Waiting for time. Okay, good. We're right on time. Okay, and we'll take the Pluto to Mars. Well, Pluto to Mars is dealing with your power and force and energy. and what you're trying to do. And it can be career, it can be work, it can be muscles, it's how you use force. So it's going to bring confrontations and power struggles around force. So that you're going to run across an enemy or across someone bad, or you're going to run into power, you're going to be fighting for the job, you're going to be overcharged yourself and controlling too much, and it's going to be harsh. So you're going to be extreme control. There's fearful actions, there's a fear of facing that, or you can be a battle with someone that's abusive and you have to stand up, or do you leave or don't you leave, or there's a power struggle. All of these things are there on the Pluto to Mars. On the conjunction, you're having to really take control and be in control and not dish out too much badness, but you have to take control for yourself. On the squares, you're running into struggles between how much you're controlling, someone else is controlling, and there's a battle, a clash of willpower. These can create accidents, force. You can have an accident, suddenly you're in traction, you're in a cast for 6 months, or things can come up, but it's not sudden. These are powerful confrontational things. Uranus is causing shocks. Saturn causing depressions or serious things. Neptune's causing confusion. And Pluto is like, wake up. You know, like, so it forces confrontations and challenges. And there's a fear and anger and challenge. So I have, in my chart, I have Pluto conjunct Mars and Mercury. Mars conjunct Mercury and a wide to Jupiter, and it's all squared by Pluto and Saturn. So I have this big, my whole aspect is Pluto, Saturn, Mars. These are just, that's normal to me. I have this all the time. So whenever I do so, I work really hard, harder than most people, and then somebody's always intimidated by it. They think I'm pushing too hard. And that's why I push other people, but I drive myself that way. So I have trouble working with people because I expect them to work as much as I'm working. Of course, not everybody wants to do that. So this is some of my Mars. So you're going to see your Mars, Pluto's coming in challenging how you're doing your Mars. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. What doesn't, it will challenge you. And how do you deal with it? Someone might lose their muscle tone. Someone might be a racer and break a leg and they can't race again. Or someone, like, it can happen a lot of ways, but some reality is going to come in that's going to challenge how you're using energy. But Mars can be aggressive energy, it can be physical energy, it can be muscle tone, it can be strength, it can be what you're doing as a job, it can be your sexuality and relationships, it could be a potency. There's so many things that come up that affect the Mars. You have to observe it. You have to tune in. You know it's coming. You try and see what the person's doing, see where the anger, the rage, or the fear is coming up around what they're doing. Usually you're self-justified, you're doing something, and at least for me, I have to realize, how do I let go? How do I know that's not, I can't fight for that. I've got to let that go. How do I let that go and let someone down or not? That's there, but somebody could be on the other side being abused and controlled, and when do they leave, or do they dare leave, or whatever. Someone else might not have a job, might be able to carry their kids. It can come lots in, but there's going to be a harsh confrontation around physical energy, around doing things. There'll be really strong. I know one lady was really angry and really mad about it. She was an astrologist. She was lectured to her. She was harsh and strong, and like it was seeming out of place for some new astrologer. But she had this angry side. She was very intelligent. I enjoyed her lecture, but it was abrasive. A year later, she died of a stroke. She was pushing too hard, and she already knew she was sick. She was pushing anyways to get some things done. That was how her Pluto Mars worked. Okay. My Pluto Mars experience talks better than my brother was born. Confrontation. I'm no longer the single kid, the only kid. My grandparents all died, and her brother all died exactly on these 3 hits of the Pluto squaring the Mars. I'm too young to know. I'm sure it affected how I could run, who was doing things with me, what was happening. I have no memory of that time.